Hi. So I want to jump off from what she said because my question is pretty big. So in my family, there's a lot of people who haven't done any work, and they are in that I don't have any money, I'm hungry, I'm old, I'm alone, all those things, and because I don't want to feel guilt anymore.
Well, we want to explain something to you first. They've done a whole lot of work. They're just not yet letting themselves reap the benefit of the work they've done, because they filled the vortex up. They did all the hard work. They did the step one part.
But I don't want them to, they're all old, so I don't want them to die, and then I'll be like, oh my God, I could have given her $20, and instead I chose to ignore her phone. What I'm doing is I'm just ignoring their phone calls because it puts me out of the vortex every time.
But the most important thing right now is you're not doing the work.
Yes.
What's the difference between them feeling bad for whatever reason they're using and you feeling bad for this reason? They're denying their receptive mode, and so are you.
Yes.
So since words don't teach, figure it out on your own. No. Since words don't teach, then you can teach through the clarity of your example. And you can't get tired enough to help a tired person feel resilient, or sick enough to help a sick person be well, or poor enough to help so through your example of thriving, in their attention on you thriving, it could cause a little shift in their vibration that may cause them to allow a little more in. If you witness that, and when you're in alignment, you'll have really good timing, so you will be able to witness more of that. Then sometimes you can say something at just the right time that helps them to understand. Jerry always said, and Esther quotes him almost on a daily basis on this, I just want people to know what their options are. So he liked thriving because he liked people knowing that that was an option. And just because someone chooses to not accept it as their option and feel jealous because it seems to be your option, you can't really do anything about that. So then you ask yourself, what's my path of least resistance? So let's talk about that here. So does it feel better to you to feel regret? You're not even, in your example to us, you weren't even feeling regret about something that was happening. You were teleporting yourself into a negative future and feeling regret. That's not what we meant by moving forward or looking forward. But it really doesn't matter if you're looking past, present, or future. Where you're looking, and how you're feeling when you're looking is what matters, yes? So what feels best to you in this sort of detached? You're a bit detached from all of that as you're here in this room, and we've got lots of momentum going, and we know that you've been hearing what we've been saying and feeling resonance with all of that. So which of these statements feels better? I'm going to let them live their lives. I need to guide them so they can live better lives. Which feels better?
And live their lives.
They may figure some things out that help them. They're destined to misery.
That one.
We know these seem like obvious choices, but you all don't act like they're that obvious, because you keep patterns going. The worst thing about being born into a family that complains all the time, you're likely to complain all the time, because it's a pattern. Not because you really want to complain, it just seems like that's what you do. When that happens, you say that, and when that happens, you feel that way. And we want you to exercise more choices. We want you to feel more open-ended, more like you feel in a daydream, when there's not so much reality that you're knee-jerk responding to. It might not be possible to imagine. Did you call those people old? There are a lot of people in this room offended by that. It might not be easy for you to imagine some of these cranky ones as being more lighthearted. It might not be easy, but it is easy to be lighthearted about some things. There's a new car commercial, new to Esther. She just saw it for the first time yesterday. And she doesn't know what car is being advertised. She doesn't know anything about it. All she knows is there's a girl in the commercial who seems to be floating around a little bit. Esther loves that feeling. And then there's a red balloon, and she seems to have hold of a red balloon. And then you can see her feet coming right off the ground, which gives you the impression that she's floating. And then you see a glimpse of her floating through space, holding onto the red balloon. And then all of a sudden, she's transported into a really beautiful red car. And Esther thought, that's how I feel when I'm on the road. She thought that was such a great advertisement for the feeling of freedom in a car. It almost feels as good as lifting your feet because when you get into your vehicle, if you've learned how to segment intend, you can leave everything that is behind and just focus completely on where you're going. And the universe will treat you with that feeling of divine empowerment, you see. Well, don't you like those thoughts? And aren't those thoughts accessible to you all the time? And if feeling good is the only thing that is necessary to live happily ever after, then why would you assign yourself thoughts that are so close to impossible to feel good about? Why ask yourself to feel good about something that you've never felt good about? Why not pick some new things that are easier to feel good about, like flying with a balloon? And if you don't believe that, get in a car. It's almost as good.
Yes. And I also wanted to ask a question about, the big question about money. How to get from where I'm at to where I want to go. And speaking of cars.
Money is a subject like cranky old people.
It gets activated with the family conversation because my dad is very negative about everybody, and I'm like, wait, I'm going to figure this out.
Most people have some of that going on. But when you realize that every subject is picking up the subject of money and it's a stick, and on one end of it is not enough money, and on the other end of it is plenty of money, and then you have to decide where you're going to light on that and practice it apart from what is. That's really the point that we're making that you already understand. We want to get past this point, but the point that we're making that you already understand is what you've been living has trained you to where you are on that stick. And so where you are is where the universe keeps giving you more ideas. And somehow you have to decide that you're going to approach it in a new and different way, which means you sure are not going to find the other end of the stick by listening to your family who has never come close to the other end of the stick. You might want to say to them, I love you guys, but you're on the wrong end of the stick. What stick? The money stick. Every time I get around you, activate within me not enough money. I'm not blaming you. You've just been doing it a long time and you're stuck on that end of the stick. And I might be sort of too, but I don't want to be stuck on that end of the stick. So I'm not going to talk about money with you anymore because you're stuck on the wrong end of the stick. Oh yeah, smarty pants, what are you going to do? That's them talking to you, not us. How are you going to get on the other end of the stick? You got to get hold of a balloon and float a little. You need something to distract you from that end of the stick, which usually means pick up a stick that you're already on the good feeling end of. And then from the good feeling end of one stick, you can get to the good feeling end of another stick. Ooh, that's big. It's so much easier to pick up the good feeling end of a stick and then move to the good feeling end of another stick because they are in the same vibrational genre than to start on a subject where you are trained or have trained yourself to be on the not good feeling end of the stick and then drag your way up the emotional scale. It's so much easier. So, in a really practical sense, what sticks are easy for you to feel good?
You put me on the spot. I'm a healer, so I love what I do. That's a positive stick.
That's big.
I love to travel. I just manifested a trip to the Bahamas, everything paid for, unlimited food in a 5-star resort. So that was...
Wait, you mean, are you telling us that the money stick was irrelevant?
No, I have...
Yes, you are. But you're going on a trip where money was irrelevant. It's paid for. Did you say it was paid for?
Yes. And I would like to manifest that as a career, to do that constantly. To get paid to go to Bahamas.
But wait a minute. Why are you messing up a perfectly good stick with reality? Why are you not letting that fantastic end of that fantastic stick? Why are you not isolating that and focusing on it and letting it be a bigger part of your vibrational mix for a little while? Why are you returning to the other stick and the things that aren't working so easily? Because you're practical minded. But when you think about it in this context, you just demonstrated in a perfect example exactly what we were talking about as the method to bridge. Picked up another stick, was already over there, and you were there for just a little bit before you messed it up. But you understand it, yes? Any other good feeling sticks? Or are we just getting greedy and selfish?
Traveling here to North Carolina to seminars. Traveling is a big stick of joy for me. Then the money gets introduced, so that's...
You picked up on just where we were going. Are there any sticks that feel really good that don't have the stench of money attached to them?
Puppies.
Free puppies?
Yeah, and puppies, seeing puppies, it feels good. Little animals in the vortex.
Do you believe that there is a direct relationship from feeling the thrill and the sweetness of puppies and prosperity? Can you see?
I don't see it, but
You don't see it? So we want to draw it out. We want to paint it out for you. The puppy end of the stick and the wonderful travel to the Bahamas end of the stick are in the same vibrational vicinity of all of the money in the world that you'd ever want for anything. It's all over there together. It's all over there. It's all over there on that end of the stick. So, can you see the correlation? Imagine a pile of sticks. This end feels really good, this end feels really bad. And you've chosen a stick that you feel really good on. Now you can just leap from stick to stick to stick. There's the relationship stick, and the puppy stick, and the Bahamas stick, and the living happily ever after stick. All those sticks are over there, and you're already predisposed because of your focus on puppies to this end of the sticks. Why does anybody have any problems? Because you felt responsible about something that you're not responsible about. Really? It's that easy? Just find something delightful and be delighted, and then delightful things will come to me? That's it. Find something delightful and be delighted, and then delightful things will come to you.
So would that same methodology or formula work with my whole family dynamic?
No. They're on the other end of the stick.
So how do I bridge so I don't just ignore everybody for the rest of my life? I mean, I like
you started.
That's it?
Yeah. Bite everything on that end of the stick. Oh, that implied that they only have that end of the stick. That implied that you don't love them when you do. There's that end of the stick in every one of them, but you're not stable enough to selectively sift that pile. You will be in really short order. Once you start approaching life vibrationally and emotionally, then that practice, then you'll be able to go anywhere, talk to anybody about anything. Somebody could innocently hack up your favorite tree, arrogantly and innocently hack up your favorite tree. And if you've been on this end of the stick enough, you can say, things are always working out for me. I'm just not letting myself see it because I've chosen to be on the end of the stick that doesn't let me see it for a while. But when you're on this end, this good feeling end, after a while, even though, of course, contrast is going to take you there every now and then, but you don't stay there long. You don't define yourself by that end of the stick like your story makes your family sound. A lot of people get beaten down by life. They don't need to. It only takes a little bit of optimism to call them to the other end of the stick. Have you ever been in a situation where, now we're showing you how to selectively sift even on a stick that is pretty much leaning in a way that doesn't feel so good. Have you ever been around people, maybe several of them, that are complaining and grumpy and grouchy and being their usual unpleasant self, and then you begin playing a table game together, or going to a sport event together, or doing something that is a departure from what is normal, and discovering humor in them that you didn't know was there, and catching glimpses of them being tuned in. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever said to someone, boy, I didn't expect to hear that from you. I've labeled you as grouchy. I don't know how that clever thing got out in my expectation of you. Must have happened because I've been being positive about other things and you just slipped in, which is our way of saying to you that a lot of the behavior that you see in others, you're asking for.
How so?
Because people will rise or lower to your expectation. So when you've labeled them as old, and Esther's taking that really personally, when you give someone a label, boy, that's a strong expectation. And it's not easy. Even if they are being delightful in a moment, you're going to miss it.